Hey everyone, thanks for dropping by to the channel. Please subscribe, not another SEO guru. Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 schema mistakes that I see all the time. And this is largely impacting your ability to declare that schema actually works. I see these things all the time, so let's just dig into them, and I'm going to go through them fairly rapidly so that we're not sitting here for too long watching me drone on about schema, as much as you may or may not enjoy that. So, number one, incorrect schema type. I see this all the time where there's a website, there's uh, something strange on the homepage that shouldn't belong there. Inner pages, such as service or product pages, um, have the incorrect schema type, which just doesn't support the page. Or there's something on the homepage, like a local business schema, that might be miscategorized, or what might be going on there. But that is one of the biggest pieces. Remember, with schema, you are looking for precision. You're looking for presenting the data to Google in a very careful and curated way so that you have the best chance of the algorithm making a favorable determination about your entity or your brand. So having data consistency, having data accuracy goes a long way to support that outcome. All right. Number two, placeholder or generic schema. So a good example of this is this here. So this is just a random website that I just put into the schema validator. If you're not familiar with the validator, it is located here, search.google.com, and it'll bump over to developers.google.com/search/doc/appearance/structured dash data. Now there's two here. The one on the right is the markup validator. This is the one that I use more frequently to examine code, where I'm not looking for any sort of validation in terms of does it generate a rich snippet. The one on the left is the rich results test. This is the one which will tell you which components or which schemas that are on your page which will generally qualify for a rich snippet. A rich snippet meaning some sort of enhanced or large featured result on search that uh, appears over and above just your regular website. So a knowledge panel is one form of that. Something we call position zero is another form of that, where you have the big result up top, generally a photo and some extract of page content, and it's quite a nice big result. And schema is largely responsible for generating that. But that's these are the two tools. This is the web address that you go to. So inside of this tool, the one we're using is the schema markup validator. We have a good example here of what placeholder schema looks like. So often this comes from like things like themes or SEO plugins. So in this case, we can see we have on the homepage of this painting site, we have Entry and we have web page. And if you open them, if you click on it, you can see this is really bare bones. And then the web page schema has a little bit more, but you can see this is just really being generated by a plugin. And in this case, it is the Yoast SEO plugin. I actually still utilize Yoast, although I've been utilizing Rank Math more. When you use Yoast, I recommend that you also install the companion plugin called Disable Yoast's Structured Data. I think the author is Roy Orbison or something like that. Um, that gets rid of the placeholder schema that it will generate and allow you to kind of clear the deck so you can add your own customized and very advanced, precise schema implementations. So that's one of the things I see a lot. What you want to avoid is if you are integrating your own schema on particular pages, you don't want competing templates or competing information that may have incorrect information or information that is not ideal. Like some versions of different URLs, like we don't utilize too much of the hashtag URLs and things like that now. So that's something to just be aware of. Okay. Number three, duplicate schemas. So you do not want multiple schemas of the same type on a single page in most cases. There are exceptions to that, typically in the situations where you have maybe multiple things in terms of media. So video object, audio object, although in those types of implementations, I would typically just hybridize one of those particular types of templates, maybe in an array or an at graph or things like that. But that's beyond the scope of what we're talking about today. Duplicate schemas in terms of don't have multiple local business, don't have a whole bunch of service schemas that are just competing with each other. You want, again, you want clarity and precision of data. So having multiple types of the same format is often not ideal. Okay. Number four, marking up data that does not exist. Don't put schema on a page that is marking up data that is not present somewhere on that page. A good example of this is like 65-page local business schemas that 58 of those 65 pages are made up awards and accolades and different things like that. That's very spammy. It's useless, to be honest, and don't do that. Everything that goes on the page in terms of schema, you want to ensure that that is actually present on the page it's going to live on. Okay, the last one is coding errors and warnings. So this is quite common where we will see utilizations of a template, and in the markup validation tool. So here's an example of just a template that we've utilized. Essentially, you want to see zero errors, zero warnings. Now, warnings are less severe than an error. You definitely don't want an error because that is generally going to break the template. So for instance, if I were to do something like this and introduce a comma that shouldn't be there, if I now do this, you'll see that this is now an error. There's something that is incorrect. Now, the tool will generally do a pretty reasonable job of taking you to the area where the issue is. So you can see this. You click on it, it'll take you down to the area. Um, but it won't present in an obvious way sometimes what the issue is. This is where your experience, your attention to detail is going to come into play. So in this case, because I entered an erroneous comma, once we get rid of that, we revalidate. Um, and that goes hand in hand with any time that you are going to make changes. Make sure you revalidate with every incremental change. Um, and that also goes without saying. You want to be always saving your data and just making sure that you're not you're not losing sight of doing that. But essentially, errors are things that are going to really break the template. So you certainly don't want that. Warnings, I said in the past, are less severe, but essentially we want to get to 0 and 0. That's going to present no issues in terms of um, anything that Google deems where you've got elements inside the template that don't belong or are incorrect or could be better formatted. Sometimes you have sections in the wrong subsection and different areas or things are nested within bigger sections and things like that. Um, that's not, from a coding standpoint, that is generally inefficient. Now, ChatGPT and some of the other AI tools can greatly help with cleaning up code and presenting things in a more efficient way. So I encourage you to take a look at using some of that. We will get into some of those applications in a later video. But in terms of what we want to cover today, those are the top 5 issues and mistakes that I see in schema implementation. I hope that is helpful. These aren't the only five, but these are the top five. All right. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.